That we're finally back from the break, let's go ahead and continue on with our next transaction. So here we finally receive our coffee brewer and grinder. Woot woot. All right, so let's look at this little invoice and tell me, what do you see here?
We have terms.
Good.
We have an invoice number.
Yes.
And then we have our two grinders.
Yes, we do. Well, actually, one brewer, one grinder.
Yes.
Okay. Here we also got charged tax because this is an asset, right? It's not something that we sell. So we got charged tax, and we also paid a down payment towards this. So therefore, our accounts payable, or our bill, has been reduced.
All right.
So there are some notes at the bottom of this saying that not only do we have a few things that we need to complete as far as for the coffee grinder, we need to have extra installation. We need to build a foundation for it, and we also need to build or rewire electricity so we have a spot to plug it in. So in this case, what I'm going to have you guys do is I want you to lump all of it and place it into the miscellaneous expense as one. Okay? I'm just going to have you guys dump it all into that one account. All right? And because we made an advance payment, that's obviously going to reduce your total bill, right? The total bill was in the amount of $3,000, okay? But because we have that prepaid, it reduced it by $1,000. So now that we owe a total of $2,600, okay? But again, I want you to shove everything into miscellaneous expense because we still have to do extra work on the coffee grinder, okay? So with that being said, let's go ahead and journalize this transaction. So on 6/10, we're still on 6/10.
Oops.
Yes, we're still on 6/10. All right. We're gonna dump everything into miscellaneous expense. Okay. And then, of course, we have a prepaid accounts because that's our advance payment that we made a while back. Okay. And of course, we're not going to pay for this coffee grinder and coffee brewer just yet. We're going to place it on an accounts payable. So we're going to owe Haley, whatever you want to call it, Hallie Bros for this amount. Okay. So again, miscellaneous expense. What account number is that?
19990.
Okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going to place it there because I still have to make a decision on what I want to do with the coffee grinder and the coffee brewer. So I'm telling you to just dump it in this temporary placeholder. So for 1990, my prepaid accounts is, I think, 18,600.
Yeah.
And then my accounts payable is 20,000. Okay. So my grand total amount of coffee brewer and coffee grinder is going to be without the down payment.
Without the prepaid, the 2634.15.
Where did you get 2634.14?
Isn't that the total amount due at the bottom?
That's the total amount due. That's I'm asking you what was the total for the coffee brewer and coffee grinder without the
Down payment.
down payment, yes.
35,1595.
3515. Where did you get that number to? Okay, no,
Um,
what about the tax? What about the tax?
All right, so including tax for both items, 380602.
Yes, 360802. Okay, you have to remember that because we're making purchases of asset, we need everything to get the asset ready for service. So that includes sales tax. You can never avoid tax. Okay. How much was my prepaid account for?
$1,000. Oh no, 1117, 1171. And then what is the change? 87.
Good. And so now, how much is my total bill now due since I paid a portion in advance?
It's the 2634.15.
Yes, that's exactly how much I owe.
I was doing it on my calculator.
So here's one thing I've done for you, okay? As the bookkeeper, all right? A lot of these calculations are going to be done for you because your main purpose is you're going to be collecting all the source documents and all your job is to do is to record. Your job isn't to calculate, your job isn't to do anything. But I want you to kind of grasp what we learned from the class so you can understand where we got this answer. However, this is typical of what a bookkeeper does. I gave you a receipt, so journalize it. And that's exactly what you're doing. You don't need to calculate. It's all right there on the receipt. Okay? So I'm saving you some time here, but also this is realistic of a real bookkeeper, right? You're going to be given receipts. All you have to do, your job is to just record. No calculations involved. All right? Okay? So now that we have this information, I'm going to double check to make sure that this holds true, that the 1,171.87 plus my 2634.15 is equal to my total amount of $3,806.02. And it does. Okay? So now that I have my journal together, I'm going to also indicate my last little description here because I received the bill. I know what is going to happen. So what is the description I'm going to place here? So who, yeah.
Haley Bros with the invoice number and that we received the brewer and the grinder.
Yes, good. So here, Haley Bros. Invoice number. What's the invoice number?
351.
351. And what are my terms for this coffee brewer and coffee grinder?
1% 15, net 30.
So 1%, 15,
Yep.
net 30. Okay, good. So now that we have recognized that we did receive an invoice number, let's go ahead and verify that in our purchase orders. We finally received our coffee grinder and coffee brewer after 4 days. So in this case, our invoice number is number 351. Okay? And then, of course, I'm going to go back to my general journal because now I need to go ahead and place this information in my ledger. Okay, so the first thing I recognize is my miscellaneous expense. So again, I'm using it as a placeholder because I still have a few things I don't know what to do yet. I'm still deciding. So under my assets, I'm just going to use it under the placeholder for temporarily. Okay, so miscellaneous expense is my last account. 610 is what I have. And I'm going to indicate that I have the coffee brewer and grinder. All right, general journal number 3. We're still on 3. And I'm going to increase my account by 380602. All right, bringing my new balance to be
$5,806.02.
okay. So here you made a mistake. Here you forgot to move the account out, that $2,000.
I don't think I have my formula in here. So it would be 180602.
180602.
You take 2,000 from the 3806.
Okay, so we're not subtracting. Okay, right now our account right now is 0.
Oh, because we moved that 2,000.
Correct. So therefore, my
Yeah, I don't have
2,000.
my formulas in here, that's why. Okay,
Right. Okay, so let's practice that formula one more time.
okay,
Okay.
let's do it.
All right, so our equal, right, to start our
Okay.
formula, we're going to select the box above. So right now you should have 0 in your current account. You have nothing in
Yep,
this.
yep,
We're going to add our debits. Okay, so you're going to add the 3,806, and you're going to subtract any credits, which we have nothing. We have 0 in my credits. And that's going to bring you, enter, and you should have 3,806 and 2 cents.
yep. Now it's in there. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Good. So the next thing that we have is we need to take out our prepaid accounts because, again, just imagine that it's a voucher and now you're redeeming it. So now I'm going to go up to my prepaid accounts and I'm going to go ahead and verify that I received my coffee brewer and grinder. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and type in purchase order number 70303R because it was the revised version. And we didn't write a check. Okay. General journal number 3, and because we're redeeming it, we're going to credit the account for the 1171.87. Okay, bringing your account balance back down to
What is this today? I think I'm on the wrong thing. Hang on 1 second. I'm in the wrong ledger.
okay.
It was in my checking, which is not right. Okay, here we go.
Okay, Robin, if you can answer this.
Yeah, it's the $6,654.17.
Yes. So here we entered in debits. Now we credit those credits. So now we're back down to where we started back in on the 7th, right? We started with 6654.17, added all these deposits, subtract all these prepaid accounts, and now we're finally back down to the same number here. So good. Now, last thing that we have to do is we need to update our accounts payable. So wait, Michelle, are you here?
Yep.
Okay, so now we're going to go to our liabilities because now we received a bill, so therefore we need to increase our liabilities. So June 10, invoice number 351, and general journal number 3. And then lastly, we are increasing our credit right? We're increasing the amount that we owe by $2,634.15, bringing my total balance now to be
Yeah, you can do it. I'm still,
Okay,
I'm
no worries,
typing.
no worries, no worries. I just want to make sure you didn't have it, and I don't want to interrupt you.
Right.
$9,235.85.
There we go.
good. Good. All right. Good. So now that we've completed entering our information into the journal, now the next thing that we got to do is now go to our subsidiary ledger. So this is now, we could go to Haley Bros. Okay, so Haley Bros. Okay. So now this time, now we're on June 10. Okay. We can, there's not much you could really do here, just because you received the coffee brewer and coffee grinder, so you already know it should be from the PO, 170,303. So we can skip this little box right here. We don't really need to add any extra details. We didn't make a payment or anything. So the invoice number was 351. General journal number 3. And yes, terms. Now we can actually place the information here. So we got 1%.
15 net, was it 15? Yeah, or net 30. So
Yes.
1%, 15, net 30.
1%, 15, net 30. Good. So now that we finally have our terms, so now we can go ahead and determine, well, when's the last date that we can pay to get this discount?
The 25th.
25th. Yes, good. 25th. Yes. All right. If not, what day do we have to pay the whole thing in full?
And it'll be the end of the month, or the 30th. Yeah.
Does June have 30 or 31 days?
I know.
June only has 30 days.
Okay, so then we would have until July 10th.
There you go. Right?
Yes, July 10. Yes. So 7/10. Good. All right. Do we have a prepaid amount?
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
71.87.
Good. And then what was our total bill without the prepaid amount? What was that number again? What was the total bill?
87. It was, including tax, $3,806.02.
Good. All right. So then again, if we did our formula correct, right, it should be able to reflect the amount that is actually on our bill, which is the $2,634.15. So again, let me know if you want this formula.
Yep.
You do?
Yes, please.
Okay, so it's going to be equal. Okay, to start, we're going to start off with the invoice amount.
Okay, and then we're gonna subtract, let me see if I have it right. Subtract any prepaid amount,
Good,
subtract any returns or allowances,
good,
subtract any discounts,
good,
and subtract if we made a payment
good.
and hit enter, which
Yes,
gives us the 2634.15. Okay.
correct. Good. All right, so that's how the formula you're going to be utilizing, okay? So again, invoice amount should always be first because that's what your starting point is.
Okay.
And then anything, of course, makes sense, right? If you have a prepaid, it's going to decrease it. You have a discount, it's going to decrease it. Returns, decrease. Payments, definitely decrease.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so good. So that's the formula, and that's the amount that you owe Haley Bros is a total of $2,634.15. Good. All right. So that's it for the subsidiary ledger. Okay. So now that I have it placed in here, right, in the random account miscellaneous suspense, okay, so I know for sure that, you know, even though I have two assets in there, I really only need to fix one of them. So, of course, with this little extra piece of information, the coffee grinder only needs to be fixed, right? Needs a foundation and needs electrical work. So my coffee brewer, right? I know that, that's already ready for service. However, there's a few things I haven't done yet, and that's what the next section is going to be. So what happened here? What did I receive?
Looks like it's the grinder and the brewer.
Yes.
Well, that, yeah,
What is this?
this one's commercial. This is commercial. That's the delivery charge?
Delivery charge. And what's so significant about this delivery charge?
I have no, oh, that it's COD.
COD. So what does that mean?
Oh, okay.
Cost charge on delivery. Like we have to pay right then and there when they drop it off.
Exactly. So here now we have to incur the shipping for the coffee brewer and the coffee grinder. So here we made a payment. So because it's cash on delivery, we need to pay it the minute it's been delivered. Okay. So here let's look at how much they charge us for delivery. They charge us a total of $350. Now, with this assumption, you can assume 50-50, right? The coffee brewer and the coffee grinder should weigh more or less the same amount. Okay, that's just an assumption. What I'm going to tell you is split that in half and dedicate half to the coffee brewer and half to the coffee grinder. Okay, but right now, where is my coffee brewer and coffee grinder? Where did I put them?
In the miscellaneous suspense.
In the miscellaneous suspense. So in this case, I haven't separated the two items yet. So what I'm going to have you guys do is I'm going to have you guys place this freight expense into, or this, I'm sorry, not freight expense. This delivery, I'm going to have you place it again in the miscellaneous suspense because that is where my current assets are lying. They're right now in that random holder account because I'm not quite sure what I want to do with them just yet. I'm not sure when I want to split it. I'm not sure what I want to do. So right now, because the asset is right now currently in the miscellaneous suspense, and we know that all costs to get the asset ready for service, that means we need to make sure that we bundled our items together instead of making them separate. So right now, they're currently in my miscellaneous suspense, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and journalize this in my miscellaneous suspense. And of course, because it's cash on delivery, what am I going to pay them with?
A check.
Exactly. We don't have a cash account, so the only assumption is we're going to write them a check. So here you go. I'm going to go ahead and debit again miscellaneous suspense because that's where my assets are lying. Okay. And we're going to write a check because it's cash on delivery. Okay. And then, of course, with this given piece of information, who is our vendor?
Valley Delivery Services.
Yes, and what invoice number is this?
301.
301. And because we're going to write a check to them, what check number have we used or are we going to use?
1511.
Yes. So you can fill in your description because I've already done the work for you. Okay. But I'm going to go ahead and write my check first because usually when you record this, you record after it's already happened. So you've already dispersed your check. So 610. Okay. I wrote a check out for a total of $350 to Valley Delivery Services. Okay. And so now my journal is going to be, well, I haven't even entered anything in yet. So again, miscellaneous suspense account should be 19,990. And of course, my checking account is 10,100. And I wrote the check out for $350. All right. And of course, I'm going to fill in the rest of my description, right, with the vendor. Vendor's name, Valley Delivery Service. Okay. Invoice number 301. And I wrote a check number 1511. All right, I think I'm getting close. Yep, I'm very close to the end of my journal. So now this section is, or this part of the journal is done. I wrote my check. I've already claimed my purchase order, so I'm good to go. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and update my ledger account now. Okay, so now again, we're going to go to miscellaneous suspense under assets. Here I am. This is exactly at the very last table. So here I'm going to go ahead and put in my date, and I'm going to write COD for brewer / grinder, general journal number 3, and it cost me $350, making now my grand total of my coffee brewer and my grinder to be together to be a total of
$4,156.02.
yes. So that's both of my coffee brewer and coffee grinder together, including tax and including the freight charge. Okay. All right. Last thing I'm going to do is go up to my checking account because I need to update that I made a COD payment, right? I made a check. I wrote out a check, so I need to indicate the check number 1511, General Journal 3, and I wrote a check out for $350, making now my account balance to be
$5,752.42.
wow. We just keep spending, spending, spending. So good. All right. Now that this is complete, we need to do one more thing because let's say, for example, we have an issue with the coffee brewer or coffee grinder, right? Let's say that the shipping, right, they faulted us or they damaged our goods. So we can go ahead and file a claim to our vendor that we purchased it from, and they may have repercussions for that actual invoice. Or if, let's say our vendor, Haley Bros, they sent us the coffee brewer and coffee grinder, right? But we have no idea who the person is, so they give us a contact number of where our items are at. So it's also very good for a reason why we should also have this as a third-party vendor or a vendor in our list because of anything that can happen like that if something happens while shipping, right? At least you'll have some kind of information. Okay? So again, the invoice was 301. All right. Post reference was General Journal number 3. Terms was COD, right? Cash on delivery. And of course, there's no discounts on cash on delivery. And the invoice amount was for $350. And therefore, we also made a payment of $350. So we owe Valley Delivery Service $0. Okay.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Someone thinks my street is a racetrack.
It's no worry. Other things you can place in here too is for the notes. You can place that they delivered the coffee, brewer, and grinder. Okay. All right. So that is it for this transaction here. Okay. So let's see what has happened next.
Remove the brewer from miscellaneous expense.
Okay.
And then we need to adjust the amounts of everything.
Correct. All right. Now, the reason why we do this is because we already actually have an existing coffee brewer. Remember, we've purchased it from the very beginning. So we have a total of 2 coffee brewers now that we've made this second purchase. So what we're going to do here is because the shipment was for both coffee brewer and coffee grinder, we didn't separate it right away because I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. So now that we have our coffee brewer and it's to its infinity because the coffee grinder still has work, we're just gonna go ahead and remove just the coffee brewer out of miscellaneous suspense and move it into its actual designated account, which is the coffee brewer. So in this case, yes, we're gonna have to do some math here and figure out, well, what was the tax on the item and how much of the freight is going to be included. So let's go ahead and review our little scenario here. How much was the coffee brewer without tax and everything? What was its price?
It was $2,266.
So $2,266, right? Now we need to split the tax. So we need to calculate. We need to prorate it, right? So we're gonna multiply. Good. We're gonna multiply it by the 8.25%, and what do we have?
186.95.
186.95. Okay, so then we're gonna add that into our coffee brewer. 2266 times 1.0825 gives us a grand total of 2452.95. Okay.
It's what? Okay.
Okay. Now we also need to also divide the shipping. How much was shipping? So I said I gave you a hint here that I want you to divide it in half because they should weigh about approximately the same amount.
$175. Yep.
Yes. So 2452.95.
2627.95.
Say that again. 26.
27.95.
27.95. Okay, so that's how much of the coffee brewer we're going to take out of miscellaneous expense. So there's the tax was split, and the amount of freight costs or shipping has been split, and now that is exactly how much we're going to be taking out. Okay. So 2627.95 is going to be how much you're going to be taking it out. And because we're taking it out of miscellaneous expense, what is our account going to be looking like? We're going to credit the account, right? We're going to decrease the account because we're moving it from one account to another. So here we have, go ahead.
Miscellaneous expense.
So first I'm going to debit my coffee brewer account because I'm moving it from the, I increased my asset for my coffee brewer, right? I gained a coffee brewer. So I need to move it into its proper account. And because right now it's sitting in miscellaneous expense, I need to move it out. So miscellaneous expense. Okay. And then here, this is going to be another internal. So I'm going to go ahead and say move to another account. All right. So miscellaneous expense, as we know, is 19,990. What is my coffee brewer account?
Mm, 15,010.
Oh, there it is.
15,010. Okay, 15,010 is going to be my coffee brewer account. Okay. So now that this transaction is now complete, well, actually, let me type
Oh, we don't
in this.
Oh, we don't do a separate line for freight. Okay.
No. Because remember, it's included in the cost of the asset.
Yeah.
Okay. So good. So here you go. 2,627.95 is going to be transferred out. So let's go ahead and let's see that in my ledger. So here I'm going to go ahead and find in my assets my coffee brewer account. So this is going to be considered a regular equipment. Okay, so here I'm in furniture. Here's my office equipment, and then here is my actual equipment. So here I found my coffee brewer. So again, I'm going to go ahead and indicate here 610. You don't need to really indicate anything here except for, I guess you could say, coffee brewer number 2. Okay. We reach the end of our journal number 3, so make sure you put journal number 3. And because we're increasing our coffee brewers, which is our assets, we increase it by 2627. 95. Thank you. 27.95. All right. Bringing us a grand total of coffee brewers to be
This plus this. And if we had something minus this. Enter. So maybe I'm wrong.
If I did it right, it's a negative 727.95.
okay. So yes, you definitely did it wrong.
Okay.
So
What
equal.
did I do? All right,
Okay, so let's do this again. So equal, okay, you can do
Right.
one above, which is your previous account balance.
Right.
Okay, you're gonna add any debits. and you're going to subtract any credits. And then enter.
Okay.
4527.95.
Good. 4,527.95 is our grand total of amount of coffee brewers. Okay. So here, of course, I didn't add anything because we didn't know that we were going to buy another coffee brewer. So go ahead and indicate that this is coffee brewer number 1. Just so then you don't confuse with the coffee brewer number 2. Okay. So properly name your coffee brewers. You can do this, of course, with labels. Okay. But yes, coffee brewer number 1 and coffee brewer number 2, because obviously we bought a used item, right? We know that when we purchase the business, it's been used. So with that, when we talk about doing depreciation, we have to account for the used item versus the brand new item. Okay. So we'll talk more into that when we solve for our depreciation. Okay. So good. So now that I have my coffee brewer number 1, coffee brewer number 2, I've, increased my coffee brewer account by $2,627.95. Now I can go ahead and remove that from my miscellaneous expense. So here, June 10, and here I'm actually going to indicate remove coffee brewer. Okay. General journal number 3, and we're going to credit the account by a grand total of $2627.95. Right? And so that means what's left in your account right now for the miscellaneous expense is going to be solemnly just a coffee grinder. And how much is the coffee grinder worth right now? Or actually, well, what's the account going to be? If you subtract, if you have,
Is left, yeah. The
Yeah.
amount that's left in the account is $1,528.07.
okay, and that is how much your coffee grinder is going to be, right? That's including the tax, including the freight.
Right.
So that is what your current amount that your coffee grinder is currently going to be right now. We have to do installation fees, or I'm sorry, we got to do a foundation, so installing it on a foundation, and we have electrical work. So therefore, when we hire those people, we have to know that at the end of the day, right now, my coffee grinder is still going to be in my miscellaneous expense. So make sure that you remember that. Okay, now that we've taken out our coffee brewer, our amount in our in the miscellaneous expense is what our coffee grinder is. Okay, so 1528.07 is my current amount for my coffee grinder. So of course, when we do this is an internal transaction because we're moving it from one account to another. We're not dealing with any vendors, so we are done with this transaction right here. And with that being said, because there's only one line left, there's really no room for someone to enter in anything, so we can go ahead and move on to the next page. So now we are working on General Journal page 4. Okay. So now that we completed our coffee brewer, what happened next?
Hire LV Remodeling Company to reinforce foundation for coffee grinder.
Yes, so we have LV Remodeling to work on the foundation for our coffee grinder. Any transaction has been done here, yes or no?
Not yet.
No.
Not yet. We haven't, we just hired them. They haven't done the foundation yet. We have not received a bill. So that is something that we're going to look for. Okay? All right, what is the next transaction that happened here? Okay, so now we're on a new day.
No, yeah, it's a new day,
Yay.
new bill.
Right, new day with a new bill.
Yes, we have a new day with a new bill. So what has happened here? Who billed us?
Okay, the LV remodeling.
Okay, so remember, we hired LV Remodeling to remodel our store. And then we rehire LV Remodeling to finish off our coffee grinder. So we have two bills that we're expected to have from LV Remodeling. All right. So this is from the previous one, right? Remember when Kim Robinson came in to consult about the design? So now this is them executing the design. So what was the bill amount for?
$1,890.
All right. And because this is considered a subcontractor job, because we know we hired them to do interior designing for us, it's going to be considered a subcontractor expense. Okay. So that being said, what account number is the subcontractor expense?
Oh, let's see, where is this one hiding?
6510.
I found it at the same time.
6510. Good. All right. Because they billed us for the full amount of 1890, and this is a bill. And when is it due?
In 2 days, is that
In
what it said?
in 4 days, correct. So here, there you go. The assumption is we're gonna owe them because we're not gonna pay them yet. So accounts payable. All right, and that is 20,000 for the amount of 1890. All right, and of course, I'm gonna also write my little description here. My vendor was LV Remodeling. Invoice number 1754, and it is due net 4. Okay, it's due in 4 days. Okay. So now that we've journalized and complete my transaction, I am going to go ahead and enter this information into my ledger. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and look for my operating expenses because it's an expense. Subcontractor is going to be a sub account for labor expense. Okay. So I'm going to scroll down. Here's my labor expense. Right under it is subcontractor expense. So here, 610. And I'm going to write that this is a remodeling job. Or remodeling interior design. Interior design. Okay. Post reference is General Journal number 4 now. And this job was for 1890, bringing my account balance to 1890. Okay. Then we got to go to our liabilities because we received a bill. Then now, and we're not paying it, so we're going to increase our liabilities. Invoice number 1754. General journal number 4. And because we're increasing our liabilities, we're going to credit it for $18.90. Right? Bringing our total balance to be
$11,125.85.
yes. All right? We're digging ourselves more of a bigger hole. Okay? But usually that typically would happen, especially if you're starting your store from ground zero. That's why a lot of times when you get business loans, you're going to blow all that money because you need to set up your store, you need to do renovations, you need to buy equipment, etc., etc. So this is typical for any regular store that's building from ground zero. Okay? All right, so good. Now that we've placed my subcontractor expense and my accounts payable, let's go ahead and update my subsidiary ledger. All right, so this is LV Remodeling. So I have a few L's in here. So I have
And we're
I have Las Vegas. I have Landlord. I have LV Remodeling Company. Good, I found it. LV Remodeling Company. So again, 6/11 is when we received the bill. Notes that we have here. What is my note here? Again, I'm going to go ahead and write interior design. Invoice number 1754. Post reference again is general journal number 4. Terms. We're given that it's due in 4 days. So we have no discount date, but when is this bill actually due? On the 15th of June. So June 15th. All right. There's no prepaid for this because it's a subcontractor, and we were billed for $18.90. We didn't make a payment, so therefore my total amount that I owe to LV Remodeling is going to be for $18.90. Yes. $18.90. All right. So now we just have to keep aware how many bills that we've collected so far and when they're due. All right. Let's see. I think we have time for one more transaction and then we'll call it a day. Okay. So then what has happened here?
We hire in-store help, Irene Jameson, and we are gonna pay her $8.50 per hour with no extra benefits. She's gonna work 40 hours a week, Friday through Tuesday, and she is scheduled to start work on the 14th of June, and she will be paid bi-weekly.
Okay. So since you guys are using the workbooks, the Excel worksheets, right? I actually have an additional page in there. I didn't require it for the Word document, but if you go to your general journal, okay, I have a little thing all the way to the left is your calendar. All right, this is your calendar of events and what's gonna happen. So here I've indicated that on the 14th of June is going to be my payroll period. Okay, that means this is where I'm going to start making my payments for payroll. And on top of that, I pay every 2 weeks. So I pay on the 14th. The next paycheck's going to happen is on the 28th. Now, when you guys calculate a payroll period, it usually starts on the Monday Okay, and it ends on the Sunday of that week that you get your paycheck. So in this case, if I were to hire, if I'm supposed to hire Irene on the 14th, that means the end of the payroll period is going to be on the 23rd. Okay, that's when it stops for her to calculate her first paycheck, right? And then when you work one whole week, you accrue 1 week's of pay. So then the following week, you get your paycheck the following week after. Okay, so that's how payroll works. So if I hire her on the 14th, that means she can only accrue up to 5 days because she's working Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So actually, she can only accrue, let me see, I think that's only 5 days, 4 days, 3 days. So if she's gonna work here, she has 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, she's working 4, 5, right? 6. She's actually gonna accrue a full week's pay.
Right.
Because of it ends on the 23rd. So she's gonna accrue for a whole week. All right. Of course, that calculation is already done for you. I mean, hour-wise, but we'll talk about that when we reach our payroll section. When we pay our employees on the 28th. Okay.
Wouldn't she get 7 days though, because she's behind and she's working funky, like it's gonna be split? 'Cause it's bi-weekly?
It's bi-weekly, yes. So that means the day that the payroll period starts is going to actually be on the let me see, the 10th. So it starts here, the payroll period.
Mhm.
So that means, but she only works from Friday
I
to
thought she starts
Tuesday.
on the
Up
14th.
till,
Yes,
till Sunday.
and yeah,
Sunday it stopped.
yeah. Sunday the 23rd, because the next payroll period. So she's going to miss the payroll period.
Right.
Okay, so that means she's going to work on the 14th, work on the 15th, work on the 16th, 17, 18. She gets Wednesday and Thursday off. Then she's going to work Friday the 3rd, Friday the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. So she's going to work a total of, yes, 7 days. Okay, so again, we'll talk about that when we do our payroll period, right? Because on average, right, you're supposed to work a total of 10 days, right? She lucked out because we're hiring her on Friday.
Right.
Okay, so yes. Okay. So now that we hired her, where are we going to place this information? Do we need to record this transaction because we hired her?
We need to fill out all of those forms.
Yes, yes. We do need to fill out the forms, but the question is, do I need to record this transaction?
No,
No.
she hasn't started.
Yes.
No.
Well,
Yeah.
first off, we hired her. Second, she hasn't started. Third, we're not on payroll yet.
Right.
So, no, we need to definitely not record this transaction. However, we're hiring her as a full-time employee. So, she's going to be on our payroll. So, again, if you're using the Microsoft or the Excel sheets, I have a little tab for employees in your subsidiary ledger. So let's go ahead and fill out her application for Miss Irene Jameson. Okay, so again, when is the pay date? It's going to be, again, she missed the 14th, so she's not going to get anything. So the next pay date is going to be June 28th. Okay, and what is the employee's first name?
Irene.
Irene. And what is the employer's last name?
Jameson.
Jameson. All right. And of course, with the W-4 form, I'm not going to create one for this scenario, but you will collect it so you will know exactly how much. All right. And what is the pay rate that we offered her?
$8.50.
$8.50 per hour. Okay. And of course, when we reach our payroll date pay date, we'll talk about how many hours she's done so far, etc., etc., and then we'll calculate everything that you need to calculate for Irene. But this is just as much as information that I want you guys to place in here, that you do have someone in your payroll. It's this person, right? You need their full actual name and how much you're going to pay them. Okay? And then we'll calculate everything else later. So that's good. So now that we're done with this section, okay, what else has happened next? Since the next part's not going to be very difficult.
We hired Albert Allen as a sales representative, commission to be 10% based on total sales, benefits deducted from commission checks, work to start on the 17th of June.
Okay,
Pay date is the same as the payroll period.
good. So we hired a 1099 worker. Okay, because they're just purely a sales representative, and how we're paying them is based on commissions, right? We're paying them 10% of all sales that this person has done. So this is where commission expense is going to come into play, and this is where we need to also identify that Albert is the 1099 worker. So again, we're going to go back to our subsidiary ledger, and I do have a commissions expense table here. All right. So again, who is the person that's working for us?
Albert Allen, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Albert Allen. Okay. All right. So again, we're going to help record, because what's important about this is these are our sales as well. We want to make sure that we record our sales, but that we make sure that Albert also receives the proper amount of commissions. Okay? How we're going to charge commissions is whatever sales he does, regardless of whether the customer returned or anything, he's still going to get the 10% for the full amount, because he initially successfully completed the transaction. Okay? So his amount is going to be reflected here. So we have the date, the person that he's going to be in charge of, the invoice number and the invoice amount, and we're going to actually calculate 10% of every single sale that he does. And we're going to calculate a total commissions that we owe him. All right? And again, because we're keeping track of his payroll period, just like how we do for regular employees, that means he's going to collect from the day that he starts till the 23rd, which is the end of the payroll, and he's going to start back up on that very same Monday. So same thing, he's going to fall under the same submissions, right? He's going to submit his sheet to us on the last day of the payroll period, so we can go ahead and calculate how much money we need to pay him. And because he's a 1099 worker, we don't need to do anything. He collects 100% of whatever we say. So 100% of the money goes to him. No, because he's a 1099 worker, we are not responsible for any FICA, any company tax liabilities, because he's not an employee. He's an independent contractor. All right? So that's one thing to know. He's not on our payroll list, but we're going to pay him according to the payroll. Okay? And since we're going to stop there for today, that means we're going to start tomorrow, we're going to start on the new day of June 12th. So I'm going to highlight this so that we know where we left off. So tomorrow we may get to do the trial balance again for week 2. So make sure that you have those information. And I believe we're also going to be Yeah, so that means when Thursday we have a possibility to start week 3, and that means you guys are on your own and you're gonna tell me what to do. I will
Yeah.
gear you towards the right answer, but I'm not gonna tell you how to do it. You're gonna tell me how to do it, right? All right. So, without further ado, if you don't have any extra questions, then you guys are free to go.
Okay, I do not have any questions.